What everybody's talking about. Could it be Take Two with Jerry and Debbie? Well, we sure hope so. This is your show. This is where we take a fresh look at ourselves and the world around us. And it's a great time for us to introduce topics that we can all grapple with together so that we can walk away from this hour a little bit changed, a little bit closer to God. Wouldn't you agree, Jerry, that the topics, when we finish the hour, we're just, we've learned something. We've grown a bit.
I'll tell you what, I have learned and grown so much from our listeners, and I love their participation. And as we always say, you are the ones who drive this show. We just try and put something out there. Debbie and I discuss it for a few minutes, and then we hand you the steering wheel. So we invite you to join us today as we're going to talk about. Debbie, what are we going to talk about?
Well, actually, Jerry, I want to read what you wrote on take2show.com. That's our website, take2show.com. We do this show synopsis, and Jerry wrote one. I just thought it's just perfect. Spring is in the air. The newness of spring. Snow is melting, temperatures are warming, flowers and trees are blooming, and the birds are singing. It's also a time to do a little cleaning, purging, tossing, whatever you want to call it. Are you traditionally a spring cleaner? Do you look around your home, office, or in your car and ask yourself, why in the world did I hang on to that? Jerry, I ask that every single day, by the way. Yes, spring is in the air. And that's what we're talking about today on Take Two. So we want to know how you approach this feeling of springtime. It's a time to, renew and begin again, and also in our spiritual lives as well. So I think this is going to have some interesting aspects, Jerry, not only from just our material possessions and stuff of learning how to detach from them, but also spiritually, how we should maintain our focus and what we should be thinking about spiritually rather than getting, bogged down with things all around us. So I love what you wrote, and I think it's perfect, and I hope our listeners agree.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, who wants to jump in and be first on the show today? It's 1-833-288-EWTN, 833-288-3986. You get first in line if you get on the phone first with Matt Gabensky. And you can also text your comment or your question. Text the letters EWTN to 55000. There may be a small data rate, but just put in there what you would like to share. And Debbie, we get a lot of emails during the show and comments on EWTN Catholic Radio Facebook page and YouTube account where we're streaming live video as well. So
true, we do
hear from you. Yeah.
Which is great. That means you care about your show. And if you care about your show, maybe you'll participate. So we're really friendly. We have a lot of brand new first-time callers, and they always start out with, I've never called before, and I'm a little bit nervous. But then by the end, we always say, was that an pleasurable experience? And they usually say yes. I don't think anybody's ever said no. Have we had anybody say no?
No, just on Dr. Ray's show.
Oh my goodness, that's too funny. By the way, I love Dr. Ray. He is so awesome. I don't know how he's so funny. He comes back with the quickest responses, which I think is such a gift. I wish I could learn that ability. I'm not as quick as he is. But he comes up right after us. Where Johnette Bankovic and Women of Grace is right before us, and Dr. Ray with the Doctors In is right on the other side of us. So which is kind of nice. We're sandwiched right in between of two great shows, Jerry.
We are, and again, you, our listeners, we love your participation, and without it, as we say, Debbie and I could sit here and just go back and forth and talk about this for the full hour. Neither of us has any problem with words, okay? But we want your wisdom, your insights. So today we're talking again about this season of spring, and what does that mean for you? What this whole concept, Debbie, of spring cleaning, I wonder, did that originate? Did that come about because of the things I wrote in the website post, like, the snow is thawing, the temperatures are getting warmer, the birds are out, the flowers are blooming, did things like that kind of inspire us as human beings, especially spiritually, to say, I'm going to dig in and just really kind of freshen things up, both in my material world and in my spiritual world?
Right. That's a good point. This idea of detachment, Jerry, I've seen many shows on TV where they try to tackle it, and they talk about how to kind of do this self-examination, if you will, of what makes you stay attached to something, or really bound to something. So what I'm interested in is how to practice that in a real way. And what I mean by that is I have a difficult time letting go of stuff. I really do. And I remember one time watching, I'll never forget it, the Oprah show. And she said, I do this thing where I hold it up, and if I haven't touched it in a year, then I get rid of it. Well, my goodness, half of the stuff that I have in my garage and closet, I haven't touched in a year. That would mean I'd have nothing.
Only a year?
Yeah. But so you know what I'm saying? Do you have a problem with that? Are you kind of a little bit of a, what do you call it, pack rat or something?
Pack rat, hoarder. I don't consider myself a hoarder. I'm probably kind of a pack rat. It's not that I don't like getting rid of. In fact, there's a freeing. We talk about there's that liberating feeling of when you go through your stuff and you say, why do I still have that? Well, maybe someday I'll need it. And you just keep doing that month after month, year after year, and then finally, you get to the point where you say, no, you know what? I'm going to donate that. I'm going to throw it away. And I love the freeing feeling that comes with that. We get bogged down. I want to hear if anybody feels like you're bogged down by stuff. Because I feel that way right now, Debbie. I have furniture in the hallway because, we got things going on at the house here, and it's just, we just need a place to put stuff. And I look at it, and I walk past it, and I finally just think, you know what, I got to do something about this. So who's like me in that regard?
Well, I like how you said bogged down. That was the word I was looking for, because I do feel sometimes that it when you go on vacation and all you have is a suitcase, it's very freeing. When you don't have anything that you're really tied to. When you're at home and you're seeing that kind of clutter, or like you said, Jerry, you have furniture in the hallway and stuff like that, it can really weigh on you, literally, because it kind of just keeps you going, wow, that's one more thing I've got to do something with, or maybe like you said, you go around, you play that mind game with yourself of maybe I need this someday, and so it's really this whole idea of the art of detachment, I think, is very interesting. Maybe we could talk about that as well. If we have any counselors that are listening right now, weigh in on this, because that's an interesting subject. 1-833-288-3986. Can you tell I'm going to really learn something from this show today? I feel it.
Yeah, I know I'm going to be inspired, because how many times, Debbie, do we do a show, we put a topic out there, and you, our listeners, you share what's going on in your life and your wisdom and inspiration. And I know about you, Debbie, I will come away from our conversations and I will take action on things, so. And I do believe there's a very definite connection to our souls and our relationship with God when it comes to cleaning material things, because sometimes what's on the outside is a reflection of what's on the inside. So let's talk about it on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
The Reason for Our Hope with Father Larry Richards.
Every day of my life since I was 17 years old, I've spent an hour a day minimum with the God of the universe. I would die for him, that which I'm most afraid of. I would die for him in an instant, because he's the most important thing in my life. I know him. And see, that's what it ultimately comes down to. What about you? Where are you at with this God? Because that's the ultimate question. Does God exist? Doesn't he exist? Is Christ God? Isn't he God? Is there life after death? Is there not? Is this all a waste of time, or is this all for a purpose? What's the purpose of life? And so in the Catholic Church, the Church has taught us from the beginning, who made me? God made me. Why did God make me? God made me to know him, love him, and serve him in this world, so I can be happy with him forever in the next. The first purpose of life is to know God.
Third Millennium Media presents Debbie Georgianni.
The world tells us not to be merciful, and we as Catholic Christians are called to take a step back and look at it in a different way. We must practice mercy, especially if we want to receive mercy.
Debbie Georgianni, co-host of Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on EWTN Radio, wants to visit your parish, retreat, or conference. Invite Debbie Georgianni today online at thirdmillenniummedia.com.
This is Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and you. So we need for you to call in and weigh in on this. Tell us about how you approach the springtime. Do you look at it as a time for you to just purge everything in the house and do a deep clean of your house. And then, like Jerry said, could be a reflection also how we are with our interior soul, which is very interesting. So we want to hear from you, 833-288-3986. Jerry, real quickly, I just wanted to share something because I find this very fascinating. I don't know if you're not, I don't think you're a big shopper, but see, I am. Well, I'm not a huge shopper, but you know what I'm saying. I like to see things that I'm, and especially if they're spiritual things. But did you know that EWTN Religious Catalog show is actually on TV, which is so cool? And it's at Fridays at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. You can actually see, they highlight different things that they sell on the Religious Catalog. It is so cool because I like that. I like to be able to see things and you see different angles. It's almost like a QVC on EWTN, the home shopping stuff on EWTN. I love that. 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. You can check out the EWTN Religious Catalog show.
All right. And we do have some phone calls to get to here in a moment on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Our phone number is 1-833-288-3986. So we're in that season of the year where a lot of us, not everybody, but a lot of people take the time and they feel good. They feel, inspired by the changing seasons and think it's a good time to do a little cleaning, a little purging, a little tossing, and just kind of lightening your spirit a little bit. Do you make this a family kind of function or a project? I mean, I think it's a real teaching opportunity for parents to say, all right, we're going to huddle up on a Saturday or something like that, and the son gets the the living room, the daughter gets the kitchen, everybody gets their bedroom, and pretty soon you've got a kind of a fresh, sparkling clean new house. And also spiritually, do you take on any new practices? We just had Lent, of course. So are you continuing during the springtime the practices that you started during Lent? So let us hear from you. 833-288-3986. Where are we going to start, Deb, with the phone calls?
Well, let's go to Mike in Colorado on the Amazon Echo. That's what Mike's listening on. Hi, Mike. Thanks for calling in and being first up, and welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Hey, Debbie and Jerry, thank you so much for your show. And I just had a comment after talking to my sister about this topic. She still has clothes from high school, and she's in her 50s. And so we were discussing why this was. And what she told me was, I don't want to forget my life. And that really, we had a good laugh with that, but there's also some truth to it. And so over a few months of kind of considering that conversation, what occurred to me is, well, if we're holding on to things from the past, maybe trusting the Lord and what He has in store in the future is something that we can take to prayer and think about. And so, that's helpful for me too when I'm having trouble letting go of things. I'll say, at the time that I'm going to need this, whatever it is, this little tool or whatever it is that's in the garage, I may use that like in 3 years. So I'll go get another one. I can run to Home Depot and pick up another one for $2 rather than this one staying in my garage for that entire time and creating basically a space that's not that's cluttered. And that clutter-free space, I think, is so important to us to be able to be open to new things happening in our life. It's almost like having a blank piece of paper. It's hard, to create something new without having a blank sheet to start with.
Wow.
Yeah, good
That's
stuff.
That's profound.
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Oh, I was just going to say how much I appreciate your show and what a joy it is to have you guys.
Oh, well, gosh.
To be able to rely on for, a good voice of light, and how much we appreciate you out here.
Well, you and the other listeners, Mike, as we always say, are the show, really. You drive the show, so we thank you for your participation. And I was resonating so much with what you were saying because we all have these things, not sometimes more than one. I mean, I'll look in the what do you call it, the utensil drawer. I'm looking for a spatula, and I look in there, and I got like 12 of them, and I go, right. Sometimes we do more acquiring than purging, and so those are those moments when I have that little, light bulb goes off, and I say, hey, why don't I get rid of some of these things, and you can donate them. And Debbie, that's the beautiful thing when we're getting rid of our stuff, somebody else can actually use it and
Benefit.
be blessed by it. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah, so-
right. Mike, I'm a lot like your sister. I have to tell you, because it's very interesting. When you were talking, I was thinking of I have this jean jacket from high school, and I loved it. And it reminds me of all the fun times I had in high school. I cannot fit into it anymore. But I just love looking at it. And I think a lot of us women, Mike, we have even outfits that we can't fit into that are like 2-3 sizes smaller. And sometimes we think that we're going to fit into them again, and maybe we can. But sometimes we go our whole lifetime and not be able to be that size again. And so it does, I think that's very interesting what you said, because it does keep us in the past, which I love how you said you need a blank page to write your future. And it's so true. My goodness, that was I was taking notes very quickly, and I'll tell you, Mike, that really
you're kind.
Yeah, no, that helped me a lot. I mean, I'm gonna get rid of the high school stuff, Mike. I'm gonna get rid of it finally.
Well, and what she and I I think we talked about was there are a couple of things. It's not going to hurt to have a few extra things in the closet, right? So having a complete catalog of that time probably isn't good to have them in the closet, but
Right.
a thing here or a thing there is great. It's just we need to be focused on trusting the Lord in our life, and how much do we need to do that? We don't need a whole bunch from the past to do that, because one of the things that Mom always said, growing up, is the best years are ahead, and they always have been. And when we trust the Lord, I think that's a good way to live.
Yeah, you have a wise mother. That's awesome. She sounds really cool.
Yeah, and we still have to throw stuff away at Mom's house sometimes too.
Oh, do you? Yeah.
Right.
Very cool. Wow, that was great, Mike. I think you really started us off strong and getting us thinking, outside of the box, and that's good. I like that. So I appreciate it so much. Thanks for the kind words about the show. We appreciate you, because Take Two Family is why we're here. So thank you so much, Mike. Have a beautiful rest of your day in Colorado.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. It just makes me think, Debbie, when if we were to look at some of the religious life, men and women in religious life, and monks, sometimes in particular, who basically don't own anything. And of course, we're not monks, we're not religious sisters, we're not hermits, we're not cloistered. 99% of us are not going to be called to that life. But we can look at them as an example, and we see how happy they are, basically owning nothing, and it just frees their spirits to soar. So again, I'm not implying that we all have to do that or should be doing that, but I think it just can tell us that we'll be all right if we don't have quite as much stuff in our lives.
But that life does sound attractive, doesn't it? I
It
mean,
does.
when even you were just saying that, it just is so freeing. I mean, that I was like, yeah, sign me up.
Yeah, right.
Okay, Carol in Leeds, South Dakota on Real Presence Radio. Hi, Carol. Thanks for waiting, and welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Hi, a blessed day to both of you. This is my first time, so I'm just going to get started here. I really was online with the last caller, the trust issue, because that's how I look at it. God will provide. I mean, He always provides. My family, we're very simple, with our wants and our needs, and it's always there. Whenever we need something, it's always there. I've been helping friends in the past declutter and that, and I've noticed that when they first start, we first go through this process, they're a little hesitant. It's like, oh, and they think of the memories of these items, and they're like, oh, should I get rid of it? It just tears at them. But one friend I've been working with now about 5 times, she's just amazing me. She's just like chucking books in the box. Don't need it, don't need it, don't need it. And she's gotten to the point where, she feels like, yeah, I don't need all of this stuff. It's so freeing for her. And that's what I say, too. This will go to really good use somewhere else. And in the past with my stuff, I have taken stuff to St. Vincent de Paul store, because those items are sold and used for the social work programs that they use. I have given tons of clothes to the women's shelters in my area.
Right.
because they're always in need of something. My son's smaller clothes, I gave those to shelters, women's shelters, again, for the small children that don't have anything. Tons of stuffed animals have gone there. And I've noticed with the furniture, if you've got a lot of stuff that's not antique or something, it's just taking up space, like Jay said, just go ahead and if you got a college or some kind of trade school close by, contact them. They've always got kids that are looking for apartments, and college kids have nothing when they start out, absolutely zero. So they're so happy if somebody can give them a table or a couch that's gently worn.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Carol, that's fascinating. And so you help others to declutter, and that's a really great ministry, if you will, because it helps them, it frees them up to, so that, like Mike said, they can move forward. They could have that fresh start. Carol, you said something at the beginning. You said about wants and needs. And I find that fascinating because we talk about that a lot on the show, of this idea of like, what's the best way to practically do that, because at the time that we want something, would you agree that we somewhat, talk ourselves into it, that it's a need when it's really a want? Do you ever find that, Carol?
Oh yeah, especially if it's something really pretty like clothes or jewelry. That's an easy thing for me to be sucked into. But I have a small house, and I just look at it, and then I walk away from it, especially in the store. I walk away from it, and I do all my other shopping, and then, or even if I maybe had put it in my cart, and then I really look at it before I check out, and then I go, no, I don't need that, and I go and put it back on the shelf somewhere.
That's brilliant, though. Well, but Carol, that is brilliant. What you just said. Sorry about that, Carol. What you just said was brilliant, because Jerry, what she said, we've got to zero in on it. Walk away from it, because spontaneous purchases is how they get us. They want us to have that emotional attachment where we're just going to buy it. What Carol said, sorry, Carol, I had to say that, repeat what you said, because I think that was so awesome. We should walk away, give ourselves time to say, wait a minute, we really don't have to make that purchase. Wouldn't you agree with that? You don't really shop. I've never seen you shop.
Actually, I shop a lot, but you're right. I do try and think twice before I buy things that I just maybe want more than need. But I just want to get back to something that Carol pointed out, and this is really, I think, a great tie into our faith and to spirituality. Sometimes, when I donate things to a thrift store or St. Vincent de Paul or Goodwill or something, I do so, Debbie, knowing that somebody is going to benefit from that. And I actually pray. I pray, Lord, whoever gets this, please let it be a blessing to them. And I'll tell you what, I am wearing probably half the clothes that I have on right now are bought at thrift stores. I love shopping, so I'm the beneficiary of other people purging too. So, yeah, that can work both ways. I love saving money and being frugal on stuff like that.
Right. Yeah. Thank you so much, Carol. That was a great take on this. Boy, Mike just got us started off strong, and Carol, you just took it away. And I hope it was an enjoyable experience your first time calling. Don't be a stranger. Call again. Thanks, Carol. Okay. Here's the phone number. You can, Carol's going to free up that line, and you can jump right on 833-288-3986. We're talking about spring cleaning today, and what does that mean to purge, to get rid of things, to detach, any term you want to call it. We just want to know how do we free ourselves up so that we can be the best we can be and help others in the world. Like you said, Jerry, I love how you said praying about the articles that you give away, that it could be a blessing to someone else. That's a ministry in and of itself.
Okay, we're going to go to, let's see, Melissa is next, listening in Denver, of course, on Denver Catholic Radio. Melissa, welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Hi. Well, I have called before, but it's been probably well over a year since I've talked to you guys, so I'm glad to call again. Thanks for being there.
Why did you wait so long?
Well, I guess it's just not worked out, but today it's hilarious because I am purging in my laundry room.
Oh my goodness!
I'm back there, kind of going through. It's kind of where you pile stuff because I'll get to it later, and I'm purging. I went, well, this is just perfect timing. But I just thought I'd call and share a time in my life a couple years back my daughter moved from undergrad school to get her master's elsewhere. And when I had to move her by myself, my husband had to be with a family for other things. So I moved her by myself, and we moved to Memphis. And it was like 95 degrees and 90% humidity, and she had so much stuff. And I just remember thinking, this is ridiculous, child. You are 20, 21 years old, however old you are after college. Man, this is crazy. And it just kind of struck me. We have been so blessed and so lucky, and she has so much stuff, and this is ridiculous. So what I said to myself at the time, I kind of made a vow that I am not going to buy anything for myself for at least a year because I have way too much. And,
Melissa, hold that thought right there.
I
Just forgive me, Melissa, you hear that music. Hold that thought right there. This is very intriguing and interesting, and I'm recalling a time in my own life when I was getting ready to go to college and how purging impacted me. So we'll talk more about that here on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Glad you're all with us.
The Venerable Fulton John Sheen.
If we wish to keep our rights and liberties, we must also keep our God. Piety and patriotism go together. That's the first glory of being an American.
The leading Catholic voices are on EWTN Radio.
It's time for Family Man with Dr. Gregory Popchak.
No one likes to get angry, but sometimes we can't help it. Anger is a God-given response to injustice that's supposed to motivate us to address the problems we encounter. Of course, wrath is one of the deadly sins, but anger isn't always sinful. It all depends on what you do with it. For instance, anger is righteous, even godly, if it causes us to make an appropriate, proportionate, and productive response to an injustice. Alternatively, anger becomes sinful if it causes us to lash out in ways that are inappropriate, disproportionate, or unproductive. Be careful to not let your anger add to the injustice. To learn how to manage anger and all your passions more gracefully, check out my book, Broken Gods: Hope, Healing, and the Seven Longings of the Human Heart. I'm Dr. Greg Popchak, but you can call me Family Man.
To discover more ways faith can enrich your life, visit CatholicCounselors.com.
Carry EWTN with you everywhere. You can enjoy EWTN TV and radio live streams, many of the popular TV and radio shows on demand, prayers and devotionals, and keep up on the latest Catholic news. For more, visit EWTNapps.com.
The wisdom of Mother Angelica.
I went to Las Vegas years and years ago for one of these cable shows, and I was shocked to see all these old ladies in their 70s and 80s getting off that plane, running for a slot machine. You don't have a chance to win. They're all fixed. I know, my uncle used to have slot machines.
EWTN. Live truth. Live Catholic.
I'm Brian Patrick.
And I'm Elizabeth Ficcicelli in for Gloria Purvis.
Tomorrow, Dominican Father Jordan Schmidt is our godly counsel, and author Tyler Bletsky join us from Morning Glory on EWTN Radio.
Now back to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Spring is in the air, and we're talking about spring cleaning and what that means for all of us. And we're talking to Melissa in Denver, Colorado on Denver Catholic Radio. So, Melissa, if you could just rewind about 10 seconds and then continue on with your thought about this, that would really help us.
Well, so the whole point, moving my daughter down to Memphis, and it was so hot, and moving all her stuff, and it just made me realize we have so much. And then she moved on to get her PhD, and so officially kind of in a sense leaving the home. And I thought, would you pack up your bedroom in a sense, and so, get all the stuff off the shelves. And she filled her entire closet with all her little knickknacks and all this other stuff. And, over the years, buying gifts and stuff, little special things we'd bought. She had those cherished teddies or whatever, collection and whatever, started making me think about how we went through such a materialistic time, and we probably still are in it, but where you had to get all these collectibles, and you always had to have the best shoes and, the best clothes. And we are not a big spending family, but still we were part of that. It made me think this is so silly because when she finally kind of say, matures, if that's what you want to say, but maybe gets married and has a family, she's not going to need half of what she has. And so what I started doing, I just, like I said, quit buying stuff for myself. And it's amazing how since that time, I could care less about buying stuff for myself. It was a change of heart in a sense. You kind of almost become humble in it, where you are turning away that I am not going to have the best clothes. I am not going to buy this brand new thing or whatever, filling my desire instead of my need. It was the want thing. And so it really has made me kind of reevaluate a lot of stuff. And my focus has changed, if that's what you want to say. And now, but I still satisfy my shopping desire because I buy for donations. I put together silent auction baskets and I don't know. I just find stuff and it's like, oh, this will be good for the food bank or this will be good for that or whatever. So in a sense, I haven't necessarily changed. I've just changed my focus. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
And it's more of a focus of giving than a focus of fulfilling something maybe in me or my family or whatever it is. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I think...
Anyway.
Melissa, what I think this represents is really a growth spiritually, a maturation. You understand, that God is good. God gives us all everything that we have, every blessing. But, there are people who don't have as much as we do. And we can recognize, A, that we have maybe, some surplus and we can get rid of it. And B, there are people who can use it and benefit and otherwise would not have it. I think it makes for just a perfect opportunity, don't you think, Debbie, to really, we were talking about earlier, bless other people's lives, and then we get blessed by doing that as well. But yeah. I would say there's nothing like moving to get you to realize that you have too much stuff, right?
Right. Well, and the whole time you were speaking, Melissa, see, this is how my brain works. I was thinking, boy, your daughter getting her PhD is super smart. But then as I was listening to you speak, I was thinking, intelligence comes from the mother. You know that, right? Have you read that?
Yes, I do know that.
There you go.
I've heard that in the past.
Yeah, and I have. That's true. Someone told me that, and I believe it. But so tell your doctor daughter that is awesome. I mean, to get a PhD, that's tough. That's tough to do. So I mean, I'm really, that's incredible. What a great achievement.
Yes, we are very blessed. And one thing I did want to add to that, the interesting thing with our society today, I think about all these people throw pillows and all this stuff people buy and they change with the seasons and whatever not. The one thing I will not give up in my collection is things that I've been given by people important to me. I have a weather vane from my grandpa's barn hanging on my wall that I got when he passed away. And I have, needlework that has been made. I have hankies that were my grandma's that, she took to high school dances or whatever. Things like that. So it is a little bit of clutter, if that's what you want to say. But it's stuff that is important. So I don't change out my pillows and my pictures and all that stuff. It's stuff that has been given to me that really is, like the person said before, it's my life, but it's my heritage. It's the people I love. Pictures, my crucifixes that I've been given from my grandma and, my confirmation rosary and all that sort of stuff that is so important to me that just keeps me in touch with who I am. That stuff I will not get rid of, and that stuff I will pass on to my children.
Exactly, and you're honoring the people who gave them to you, living or deceased, their memories of their deceased, and these are very, very meaningful things, and these rise to, in my opinion, Debbie, these rise way above, those 5 extra sweaters that we bought for ourselves, that are stacked in the closet on the shelf there. This is important stuff, and I think this stands apart considerably and beautifully from basically what we're talking about here today. I'm glad Melissa shared that.
Yeah, don't be a stranger, Melissa. Don't wait a whole nother year so we can hear your beautiful voice. Thank you so much for your wonderful take on this. We appreciate you very, very much. Have a beautiful rest of your day in Colorado. I keep saying that. We got Colorado is going strong today.
Right
That's
on.
awesome.
Well, and a few minutes ago, I said I had some thoughts on Melissa, and I didn't share what I was going to share because I looked at our next caller, and what I was going to share is related very much to what Alec is going to share with us in Boise, Idaho. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Alec, good to have you with us.
Oh, thank you. This is my first time on EWTN, and it's a really exciting moment in my life.
Oh, well, praise God. Praise God. Thanks for calling.
Oh, thank you. So I was just going to say, I thought it might be kind of cool for some people to hear, but about a year and a half ago or so, I was accepted to seminary for my diocese, and right now I'm taking a discernment break really to reduce debt, which is something that I think everyone wants to reduce before I discern whether or not I go back in or not. And right before that point, I was living with a couple of friends from college and working in my regular job in cybersecurity, which is the field I work in outside of doing ministry stuff. And I had to get rid of everything, basically, to get ready for that life. And so since then, even in the process after I took a break from seminary, I've just continued to live that way. So I've really minimized things to just like a book my parents gave me, which is one of the more, it's from the 20th century or something like that, but it's one of the more older versions of like St. Augustine's Confessions, and I play mandolin and guitar, so I have a couple of those things, but I've really focused on just keeping it to those same small items that I consider like from important people or that could help me in the future with ministry opportunities. And then if you ever ask my parents or friends, I'm a serial giving away type of person. So if I know someone needs something, especially more than me, I'll give it away. So I really just try to keep it that religious simplicity that you guys were talking about earlier on in the show. And it may seem hard at first, but it's actually really nice. I just moved back from Texas from doing a job down there and had to pack everything into my Mini Cooper, and it all fit. So with 2 cats and my brother. So,
wow.
I was just wanted to comment on that, just that it's easier than you might think to just keep it to the simple things.
Wow, Alec, if your brother and 2 cats and all of your life's possessions fit into a Mini Cooper, congratulations. I need to work on downsizing my stuff. But the reason that your call, really relates to me is I don't know if you haven't listened to this show before and don't know my background. I spent 6 years in formation for the priesthood. And I remember during the discernment, discernment leading up to that, I had to, one of the decisions I had to make was, do I put my stuff in storage or do I get rid of it? Do I just trust and just get rid of it all? Because, I was still, probably 8 or 9 years, away from a possible priestly ordination. And I got to within a year of being a deacon. But I had to just get rid of most everything that I had. And, when I discerned out of the seminary, of course, I had to reacquire some things. And now I'm sure I'm leaps and bounds ahead of where I was before I went to the seminary in terms of possessions. But yeah, I can really relate to that. And Debbie, I'm inspired by what Alec has shared here because it just shows a real, maturity on his part. He sounds young, but it sounds like he's got a lot of wisdom.
Yeah, I just loved his call. So, Alec, just know that prayers are with you for your vocation, that God leads you in just the right path for you in your vocational call. You just wanted to say, if you're still listening, that we hope that your first time calling on EWTN was a great experience, and keep calling because we need the younger voices. And I say that because I think I'm old enough to be your mom, Alec, but we need the younger voices. Wouldn't you agree, Jerry? Because it helps all of us. They're the future of our church, and it helps all of us to grow, especially spiritually. So I just wanted to say that to Alec as well. What do you think?
All right. Thank you again, Alec, for the call. Catherine is going to share some wisdom with us next in Springfield, Missouri, listening on Sirius XM 130 to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Hi, Catherine.
Hi.
Hello there.
Hello?
Yep.
Yes, hi. This is Catherine, and I was just going to suggest that when people, oftentimes when they maybe might be impulse shopping or spontaneous shopping, that they use their phone to take a picture of the item and then go out of the store and then wait a little while, and then they'll feel like they still maybe in some respect obtained the item, but they didn't have to find a place for it at home. They didn't spend their money on it. And pretty soon that impulse is gone, and then you feel good that you didn't actually go through with it and spend your money and have to find a place for it and that kind of thing.
Okay, Diana, that is absolutely brilliant.
That's Catherine.
I'm sorry, Catherine.
Okay.
I was looking at Diana was
okay.
right above you in the phone
That's
system.
all right.
Catherine, that is brilliant. Oh my goodness. I took notes on this one because we have our cell phones with us all the time, and to take a picture.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
I never even thought of that. Jerry, do you do that?
Because oftentimes the spontaneous impulse buy has to do more with our emotional baggage and that kind of thing. And once that emotion has passed, then that item is no longer important to us. And so then if we didn't buy it, then we don't have to figure out a place to put it. And we don't have that constant reminder, oh, I bought this dress and I really didn't need it at the time, but here it is still now in my closet. And I just bought it because at the time I felt excited about something. And now that time has passed, but the dress is still staring me in the face, reminding me of this impulse buy.
Right.
Kind of thing.
Well, to answer your question, Debbie,
Catherine,
no, I
that's
don't
amazing.
take pictures of things and then go kind of reflect on them or ponder them a little bit. But I'm intrigued. One of the aspects of this conversation would be, and we're not counselors or psychologists or anything, but just to try and delve into the psychology of what makes us do this. What Catherine was talking about, the impulse. She mentioned the word impulse buying, and we do a lot of that. Thinking, wow, I really want that, or I'm going to need it, or I'm definitely going to use it sometime. And as she said, then you go into the closet 6 months, a year, 2 years later, and it's staring you in the face, and maybe you've used it once, maybe you haven't used it at all. So it'll be interesting to talk to someone who's an expert in this area, Debbie, and find out what makes us, make these purchases. Yeah.
Well, Catherine tapped into it. It's when you're having these certain feelings of something's going on in your life, or there's a certain excitement, or something of that nature, you may be apt to jump in and impulsively buy something. I think, Catherine, I'm going to say it again. That is brilliant. I put a star next to your name, and I said, wow, I'm going to start practicing that today. Thank you so much. Thank you for waiting, and thank you for weighing in on this. That is really important.
Have a good day.
Okay.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Catherine.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wow. Good stuff.
I know. I told you I was going to learn today.
That's
You
right.
don't- But I had a friend, real quickly, where you got a lot of social media comments, and a friend just texted and said, Debbie, I've never seen you shop. I'm not a big shopper, but I do buy religious items. I remember, Jerry, when we were at the Hansville gift shop. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah. The retreat group had a hard time getting me out of there because it was like IKEA for religious items.
IKEA, yeah, right.
Anyway, so cool.
Well, you mentioned
So
social media, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to read some?
Yeah, I can mention our friend Ruthie actually texted us, says, hi, Jerry and Debbie. Finally getting out of my tax season funk, putting one foot in front of the other, and slowly springing back into my stepped-up prayer, mass, and adoration practice. She says, yes, I get bogged down by stuff. I have bins at the ready all the time, ready to fill. I have a hard time letting go of things I don't want to throw out. I want to find a good home for things, but maybe I need to let them go. During Lent, I didn't do any extra shopping, and I'm letting that carry over. Sure feels good. Love you guys, Ruthie. Well, thank you, Ruthie.
Love you too,
that.
Ruthie. That was great. And then Steve said, why should spring be a time for cleanup? Get outside and enjoy nature starting to bloom. The stuff won't go anywhere.
Great.
That's very
Good.
true.
Yeah, good angle on that, Steve. Oh, and Kathy on Facebook Live said, I'm listening to you right now and purging our stuff as I listen. Life is calling us elsewhere, and we're moving very soon. Well, happy packing, Kathy, and a safe and blessed move for you and the family.
Okay, and we have to finish with Lori. Lori said, my mother always said, cleanliness is next to godliness. I would agree with that.
Sure.
We did a show on that, didn't we? I think we did.
Yeah.
We're going to have to revisit some of those really popular shows. Okay, Leela in Albany, New York, on Words of Peace and Goodness. Wow, I love that station name. Hi, Leela. Welcome to Take Two.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
I'm very excited to be on the radio. Well, I just wanted to share my very special situation, and I know some people are in the same situation, but I happen to be blessed by living in the same home I was born in, and I'm 69 years old. And it's a beautiful home. There's a barn. It's almost on 4 acres, and an attic and a cellar. And let me tell you, I have 5 generations of things and memories for 5 generations in my whole home. And in the attic, you'd open up the door and you couldn't even see the floor. It was just overflowing with boxes and clothes. So what my philosophy was, and why I started purging some things, is because I thought, because of my age, that if I don't start organizing and cleaning out my home, it's going to be left for my children. It's going to be left for someone else. And I don't want to put that burden on anyone else. And my daughter has a system. She takes 3 bins. One is to throw things away. There's a lot of things we really don't need. The other would be things to give away to the needy. And then there would be a maybe bin. And you'd be surprised. The longer you look at the maybe bin, it either goes in the trash or it goes to someone who might need it. And that was a very organized way. It took me a little over a year, but my attic is in perfect condition, and so is my cellar, and I just feel very relieved and knowing that I won't be leaving a mess for someone else.
Wow, Leila. First of all, I have a comment to make, but I just want to say if you ever move out of your what sounds like a gorgeous piece of property, let me know. I'd like to buy it from you. It sounds like a beautiful place to live. But
it's built the way homes should be built, not the newer homes. It's a beautiful home. Yes.
Right.
Thank you.
And the probably a little bit of acreage and the barn and all that, but. Yeah, you know, one of my problems is, Leila, you said it took you a year to get your attic in order, and I appreciate that because I'm the kind of person, Debbie, I don't know if you are, I look at stuff like, cleaning up the house, purging, straightening up, housekeeping, all this stuff. I look at the big picture, I say, man, there's so much to do, and I just I tend to get overwhelmed and almost defeated before I get into it, and I realize it's got to be step by step, 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day. And even if it takes a year like Leila did, that's got to be the way you go about it. But I don't know, for some reason, maybe it's a psychological hang-up, but I get overwhelmed just thinking, oh, man, there's just so much to do.
Right. And then you take Steve's philosophy where you just say, I'm just going to go out into nature because it's all going to be there anyway.
Find a reason not to do it. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. But Leila, my sister feels the same way as you do, and I have a lot of friends as well saying that, why leave it for our children or our grandchildren to have to sort through and have that burden, if you will. And so I think that is really a great thing that you're doing and you've done because it helps to free up for future generations, that they don't have to make those decisions. The other thing, too, is I love the 3 bins idea. That would be great. And Ruthie, if you're listening, that would be perfect for you because you can do those 3 bins and it helps you clear out the clutter. Great take on this, Leila. And I don't know if I could afford to buy your house, but I would come visit.
Thank you. You're welcome anytime.
Thank you. We may be on your doorstep. Be careful what you say.
Bless you, Leila.
God bless you.
God bless you too. Thank you. Hey, just for those who don't know, EWTN has so many services. We mentioned, radio and TV and the National Catholic Register and EWTN Publishing. And one of my favorites and one of the coolest really on the web is called Church Pop, P-O-P, churchpop.com. You can sign up, put your email address in there, and then they'll email you the latest content every day. And one of the topics today, Debbie, is, and this is kind of the quirky thing I love about Church Pop.
I love Church
One of the
Pop.
stories, one of the stories is the 8th century Benedictine monk who accidentally invented do, re, mi.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't go to bed at night wondering about that, but when I hear that there's a story on Church Pop, then it gets my interest up. So I'm going to check that out.
That's cool. I gotta check out that one. I love that Church Pop comes in like at 3 a.m. in my inbox. So if I can't sleep, I can always read the fun articles. So it's always a good one. Can we take more calls or no? Yes?
Sure.
No? Okay. Cindy's up next on Sirius XM 130. You're listening. Is that Montana, Cindy?
It sure is, yeah.
Yeah, that's Montana.
I love Montana.
Wow. Speaking of beautiful areas,
we do too. That's why we're here. I'm originally from New Jersey, like you, Debbie. So, but that's why we're here. We like the room here. But anyway, my story is we've been here 17 years, and last year was the first time we were actually faced with wildfire. In July, we had a lightning strike in an area in the woods that hadn't been hit by lightning in over 100 years. So you can imagine there was a lot of dry fuel, and it spread really quickly. You really learn that you have too much stuff when you get a knock at the middle of the night, like at 10 o'clock, the sheriff's officers telling you have to get out. And so my husband and I looked at each other, and we basically just grabbed the religious paintings, some statues we had, our books. EWTN has a great religious catalog service, so we have a lot of books to read from there, and just threw them into vehicles, took our dog, stayed with friends for about a week, and came back home, and then we wound up having to go back out again. And that really told us, there's so much stuff in the house that we have to get rid of. So we decided slowly but surely, like you said, we're going room by room, and we're just getting rid of things to Goodwill and charity, and keeping the bare minimum of what we need, because that was a wake-up call to have to go out in the middle of the night like that, and wondering what you might want, what they're willing to leave behind. And a lot of our neighbors were really worried, and they wound up, some people actually rented storage units and got big trucks to be able to come in, came back and forth here to drag things out. But we thought, the Lord gave us this, and it's His to take away. So we just took what we thought we would need, and we just left. So that's how we're cleaning things up now.
Wow. But you're safe, though. Everything's kind of back to normal.
Yeah, everything went fine. There's another season coming up, in July, and they're saying that in Montana, you have a lot of nice spring rains, but in the summer, basically the water shuts off. There's not a lot of rain. So we're just praying that we don't have another season like we had last year. That was kind of different for us. We've never experienced that before, but we're all safe here, and everybody's homes were okay through they were managed to put it out before it got too close. So
well, that's what's most important. Yeah, thank God for that. Go ahead, Deb.
No, I was just going to say, Cindy, your family was forced to do exactly what we're trying to talk about today. Where we should all have that kind of mentality that the stuff that we really need is important, and the rest of the stuff is just extra stuff that is not going to make or break our lives. So yeah, it's interesting. Thank you, Cindy, so much. Prayers are with you in Montana. We'll be praying. We have Take Two family is all about prayers, and just want to thank. Sorry we can't get to you, Dorothy and Diana and Alec called back. Alec, that was a great call. Thank you so much. We're praying for your vocation. And Jerry, there's always Unscripted tomorrow, which you can always revisit, previous shows. So
yeah, in fact, any of you that we aren't going to get to, and we apologize for that, but it happens every day, you indeed are welcome to call tomorrow, because you set the table with whatever you want to talk about. We call it Unscripted. Debbie and I simply start the show, we open the phone lines, and you share whatever you want, what's going on in your life, good things, bad things, comments on previous shows, maybe you didn't get a chance to get through or didn't get on the air, maybe suggestions for future topics, whatever it is. Be thinking about that overnight tonight, and let us know what's on your mind and heart tomorrow.
It sounds great for Unscripted. My takeaway, Jerry, is I'm going to pay a visit to St. Vincent de Paul with a trunk full of stuff. That's my takeaway. Yours?
My takeaway is I'm going to hold you to it.
Okay.
I'm going to do the same thing. It is really, really time. Thanks, everybody, for your great wisdom and inspiration. We learned a lot.
Until tomorrow, have a beautiful and blessed day.